So I would say my
Mm,
expectations as a single woman, maybe in a place where men are taught to approach women, is that the person, of course, the number one that the man will approach, that the man will have a clear intentions as well. I think these are our expectations growing up. We knew that the men should approach, the men should have clear
mm.
intentions, and that the man should lead, quote unquote, the relationship. But because we're not seeing that, that becomes difficult. Because if I'm not seeing someone approach, if they're number one not even approaching, then what are you expecting? If they're not even approaching you, then you're like,
True.
but
I
and then
mean,
if they're approaching you, but they don't have clear intentions, it's like,
mm.
what's your intention? It's not clear. I don't understand. And then if that's not even happening as well, then you don't know the expectation of where the goal. There's no goal set in
So
mind. So it's a
let
lot.
me let me just. So as a Christian man,
Yeah.
who I'm married, but also I know I've been single before.
Yeah.
But as a Christian man, you do get men, certain men that say things like, "Oh, I told her oh, I was able to express my intentions to her, but she turned me down." If he comes to you and he tells you, "Oh, the Lord told me that you're my wife," isn't that being clear enough?
No, that's me. No, first of all, no, 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 no. I have to disagree. The reason why, and I'll tell you why, is that the moment that you say the Lord told me, you're automatically weakening any, because we're Christians, right? So as Christians, we have that bias. So when you say the Lord told me, it's like I'm weakening my defense because it's the Lord. The Lord doesn't lie. He doesn't change. So if he said it, it has to be. It's almost like you're telling me this is set in stone. That's it. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have
That's it. The Lord said, "You're my wife. You're supposed to go with it." Well,
to.
despite how you feel about it.
And I disagree, and I think that's where I would like for them to take on more lessons, like go back and even seeing. I was talking to, was it mom? I was mentioning Rebecca. When you see the story of when Abraham sent what's his name, the servant Eliezer to go and find a
Yeah.
wife for Isaac. We see Eliezer went and followed the instructions about where to find the wife, of course, and he
Hmm.
specifically was looking for the one who would not only feed the camels but also himself. I mean, give the camels, all of them, water. When you're thinking of something like that, the instruction, it was dependent on the woman who was willing to do that, but it wasn't forced upon her. I'm assuming there
Hmm.
could have been somebody else, and somebody else probably would have said no, absolutely not. But Rebecca wanted to do that, and even still, even when he
Yeah.
spoke about like where do you come from, where are your people from, she still said you got to
Yeah.
come to my house. You got to first come to my people, see my her father, who was it, Laban, right? Had to
Hmm.
come there and actually see his people, be around them, and still it was still a decision that was to be made. It's not an already made decision. So when it
You
comes
know,
to like that, is weird. It's given
see,
weird.
I think it's got to do a lot more. I think believers sometimes
Mhm.
are a bit not honest when it comes to those things. Oftentimes, the fear of believers is attraction. Most of the time, the guys who tell
That's
you
true.
that the Lord told me you're my wife, or Lord told me you're my husband, or whatever,
Yeah.
it's got to do with the person doesn't look anything like you wanted, and then they don't have anything that you wanted. They 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 look very much like somebody else's problem. And
That
then you're
you don't
thinking, nah,
want.
nah, 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 that's not my husband, that's not my wife. But if they look everything that you wanted, have everything that you wanted, and they
Mhm.
boldly came to you and told you, the Lord told me that you're my wife, you would be like, I mean, right then you probably will say no, but in your heart you'll be like, oh my
You
Lord.
say thank you, Jesus, first, because I think we'd start thinking, what a wonderful father. Wow. He gives good gifts to his beloved, like you said. You'll start thinking about it. And yeah, of course, you're more naturally, we would be more willing to, I don't want to say tolerate, but accept something so strange from somebody or in a package that looks pleasant. Anybody would. Anybody would. Uh,
True.
but the thing is also, as Christian women, we're not really, I think majority of the teachings are against Christian women even having some sort of attraction
Hmm.
to a man. Like it's almost like it's always geared towards stop looking for this particular man, stop looking for the, but the men have always looked for a specific type of woman and they've gotten it. By God, they have what they want and we're not mad at it. We're just saying we want what we want too.
Attraction is needed. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if it's a Christian marriage or not. Attraction is always needed.
Absolutely.
Just to let you know, guys, we also have our chat in here. So I'm just gonna go and read some of the chats that some of the guys have put in here. And
Good
they're
thing.
quite funny. I wouldn't read all of them, but Mima said they need to learn more about their spiritual man. Wow, both
Oof,
parties. Okay.
Lord.
Nick has a question. Are Christian women creating enough room for a fruitful conversation to happen? Sometimes even Christian men avoid sisters because they always have their God app. What do you
Oh,
say to that? Okay, Nick, that's a good question. I'll tackle it in a minute. And Lisa says, if God told him, why doesn't he not say that and just pursue her properly?
thank you.
That's actually a good one, Lisa. Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you,
just
Lisa.
if God, what I would say to that is, if God reveals to someone that you are okay, if they said, okay, somebody comes and say, okay, Jiska, you're my wife. I don't think they should be telling you that God said that you're my wife. Rather, what they should do, the revelation or the revealing was for them so that they can approach you in a manner that is like, okay, a bit more confident,
That's right.
regardless of how you feel about it. But,
Right.
you wouldn't be like, oh, listen, the Lord told me that you're my wife.